Good morning, Birmingham Unitarian Church. Good morning. Welcome to all, whether you're visiting us for the first time or have been here many times before. Whether you're joining us here in the sanctuary, remotely via Zoom, or watching this recording later, it's good to connect with you. Today, children will be with us in the sanctuary to hear a story before heading to their activities of the morning. The family room, just to the left at the back of the sanctuary, with audio of the service piped in, is open for parents and children. Care is also available in the nursery on the lower level for infants and children through age 5. By greeting our virtual neighbors, we build a bridge between online and in-person participants. First, we'll project on our screen the image of folks who are currently on Zoom, and if you're comfortable doing so, please turn on your cameras and give us a wave. Now, we who are gathered here in person in the sanctuary are invited to turn to face the camera in the back and give the folks on Zoom a wave. If you're with us in person, we invite you to join us after the service for coffee and conversation in Hodas Hall, which is located to the left after you exit the sanctuary. Our newcomer table is a place where visitors and newcomers can meet and chat with members of the congregation and with each other. All are encouraged to drop by, just look for the colorful sign. If you're with us on Zoom, we invite you to stay on the call for a virtual coffee hour immediately after the service ends. Whenever, however, and wherever we connect with BUC, we are building this beloved community.
No matter your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, your skin, you are welcome here. No matter how you came here, if you came alone or with others, you are welcome here. No matter whom you love or how you speak or whatever your abilities, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. If you come with an open mind, a loving heart, willing hands, you are welcome here.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing, answering the call of love. We bring ourselves as we are, accepting each other for who we are, calling each other to be what we may yet become. We call each other and ourselves to vision and action, nurture ourselves, nurture each other, challenge ourselves, challenge each other, make room for those who would join us, enjoy beauty, explore meaning, find purpose, make peace, do justice, help heal the world.
Our story for today is one we may have heard a while ago, but as stories sometimes go, it doesn't hurt to tell it again. So this one you may remember as Red, and this is a crayon story. He was red, but he wasn't very good at it. Oh dear. His teacher thought he needed more practice, but he wasn't very good at it. I'll draw a strawberry, and then you draw a red strawberry. You can do this, really. But he couldn't really. Like this? Oh my, well, let's try again. His mother thought he needed to mix with the other colors. Why don't you two go out and draw a nice round orange? A really big one, a really orange one. But they made a big greenish one. Yuck. Oops. His grandparents thought he wasn't warm enough. Well, your class is making self-portraits for Parents' Night. Wear this warm red scarf. It's so you. But it so wasn't. Oh, dear me. Everyone seemed to have something to say. Sometimes I wonder if he's really red at all. Don't be silly. It says red on his label. He came that way from the factory. Frankly, I don't think he's very bright. Well, I think he's lazy. Right, he's got to press harder, really apply himself. Give him time, he'll catch on. Of course he will. But he didn't catch on. Green frog, black sheep, brown cow, red. Ugh. All the art supplies wanted to help. The masking tape thought he was broken inside. This will hold you together. The scissors thought his label was too tight. One snip should do it. I thought he wasn't sharp enough. Now stay still. But even then, with all of our help and all his hard work, he just couldn't get the hang of it. One day, he met a new friend. Will you make a blue ocean for my boat? I can't. I'm red. Will you try? So he did. Thank you. It's perfect. You're welcome. It was easy. And he didn't stop there. Bluebells, blue jeans, blue bird, blueberries, blue whale. I'm blue. He was blue, and everyone was talking. My son is brilliant. Who could have known he was blue? I always said he was blue. It was obvious. His blue ocean really lifted me. all of his hard work makes me happy. His blue strawberries are my favorites. He's so intense. I'm gonna make a green lizard with him, a really big one. I hear he's working on a new project. He's really reaching for the sky. And he really was. So if I could have all of our children and youth join us at the back of the sanctuary, we'll head off to class and explore colors some more.
The mission of Birmingham Unitarian Church is to be a free and welcoming religious community that encourages lives of integrity, learning, service, and joy. One way we live out this mission is by giving half of our weekly offering to a nonprofit organization that shares our values and addresses needs in the community. The recipient of our shared offering now through August is Heal Palestine, a non-political, nonprofit organization founded in January 2024 in response to the unimaginable devastation in Gaza, where thousands of lives were lost in a short period, impacting generations for decades to come. They provide critical care and resources while centering grassroots leadership and community-led recovery. Their work is rooted in dignity, resilience, and the belief that every child deserves the chance to heal and thrive. Heal Palestine envisions a Palestine where all of its children have access to quality health care and education, their basic humanitarian needs met, and the tools and opportunities to be leaders and catalysts for positive change in their country, which will no longer have to rely on others to thrive. Their work includes evacuating young victims of violence for specialized treatment in the U.S. Recently, they brought 4 children to Detroit, where they are now receiving prosthetic limbs and care. The ushers will now receive this morning's offering, given and received in the spirit of generosity and gratitude. This offering is dedicated to the good work of Heal Palestine and of this congregation.
please join in a spirit of meditation. Source, essence, life, love. We are grateful for all we have, for all we are, for all that is. We hold each other in our hearts and minds with all our joys and all our sorrows. The joys and sorrows of the congregation that are shared with us this morning are these. From Kelly Taylor, my daughter Madeline got her first teaching job. She will be teaching 5th graders in Redford, and Kelly is very proud of her. From Shannon Snyderman, I am filled with immense joy this morning after a busy Friday and the big religious education office cleanup. Many thanks again to those that helped to transform that space and make it functional again. We remember those experiencing losses and those facing health challenges. We pray in whatever way we pray for all those affected by war, by hatred and violence. We pray for peace. The cares of the world are many. Even when the cares of the world weigh on us, may we find joy in our connections with each other and in the pleasures that life holds. Let us take care of one another and ourselves in all the ways we can. Let us make this a safe and welcoming place for all. As we hold each other in our hearts and minds with all our joys and all our sorrows, let's take a moment to be quiet together. Now please join in singing Find a Stillness, hymn 352.
They teach us to read in black and white. Truth is this, the rest is false. You are whole or broken. Who you love is acceptable or not. Life tells its truth in many hues. We are taught to think in either or, to believe the teachings of Jesus or Buddha, to believe in human potential or a power beyond a single will. I am broken or I am powerful. Life embraces multiple truths, speaks of both and of and. We are taught to see in absolutes, good versus evil, male versus female, old versus young, gay versus straight. Let us see the fractions, the spectrum, the margins. Let us open our hearts to the complexity of our worlds. Let us make our lives sanctuaries to nurture our many identities. The day is coming when all will know that the rainbow world is more gorgeous than monochrome, that a river of identities can ebb and flow over the static, stubborn rocks in its course, that the margins hold the center.
A friend tells a story from his childhood, listening to Bible verses in church. He heard this verse from the book of John in Christian scriptures. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And my friend wondered, what word could it possibly be that would be so powerful? And my friend concluded that the word that would be the most powerful word in the world must be hello. What other word could possibly be more powerful than the one that begins an encounter with another? Hello. Words are powerful tools, and language is often identified as one of our defining human characteristics. If we shape our tools and our tools shape us, as media theorist Marshall McLuhan posited, then just as how we think influences the words we use influence how we think. In the first half of the last century, scholars of linguistics developed theories of linguistic relativity and determinism. One proposed, we cut nature up, organize it into concepts, and ascribe significance as we do, largely because we are parties to an agreement to organize it in this way. An agreement that holds throughout our speech community and is codified in the patterns of our language. And another, human beings are very much at the mercy of the particular language which has become the medium of expression for their society. The fact of the matter is that the real world is to a large extent unconsciously built up on the language habits of the group. One way of summarizing this idea, known as the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, is that what is thinkable for you might depend on the language you use. We use language to make sense of the world, to categorize, name, and share our experiences. Are we limited by our language, or can we use language in new ways to open up our minds and think in new ways, to go beyond the categories that limit our understandings? Language changes. Can we use language for change? One minister and poet, the Reverend Barbara Peskin, suggests that examining and extending our language gives us a chance to broaden our definition of the word we. For many of us, inclusivity, including inclusive language, is a goal. But who is included in our inclusive language? Not so very long ago, back when I was in school, not so very long ago, grammar books taught that the word he meant he or she. And then we learned that we needed to say he or she if we meant he or she. And now we are learning that the categories he or she are neither sufficient or necessary to categorize people. Back in 1977, the Unitarian Universalist General Assembly was ahead of its time in passing a business resolution titled Women and Religion, the result of tireless work by the Women and Religion Committee, which led in transforming the Unitarian Universalist Association toward greater inclusiveness and gender equality. The resolution stated, whereas some models of human relationships arising from religious myths, historical materials, and other teachings still create and perpetuate attitudes that cause women everywhere to be overlooked and undervalued. And whereas children, youth, and adults internalize and act on these cultural models, thereby tending to limit their sense of self-worth and dignity, be it resolved that the General Assembly urges the Board of Trustees of the Unitarian Universalist Association to encourage the Unitarian Universalist administrative officers and staff religious leaders within societies, Unitarian Universalist theological schools, the directors of related organizations, and the planners of seminars and conferences to make every effort to A, put traditional assumptions and language in perspective, and B, avoid sexist assumptions and language in the future. In 1980, the General Assembly passed a resolution titled Implementation of Women and Religion Resolution, a Call to Commitment. Whereas avoiding sexist assumptions and sexist language is a long-term undertaking during which the deep-seated patriarchal nature of our religious traditions must be examined and new ways of perceiving the nature of women and men and of relationships between them must be developed. Be it resolved that the 1980 General Assembly of the Unitarian Universalist Association urge all societies to provide opportunities for members to participate in activities that bring into focus the sexist language, the sexist nature of our religious heritage, and also the emerging ideological understandings that value women and men as full human beings, and be it further resolved that this General Assembly urge the UUA administrative staff in association with lay members and clergy to develop and provide materials to help societies eradicate long-standing sexist assumptions and language forms and usages diminishing women, whether in worship or in other church settings. The hymnal of the time, which had been published in 1964, including sections titled Love and Human Brotherhood and The Arts of Man. One section was simply titled Man. One of the results of this resolution was the production of an interim hymnal titled Hymns in New Form for Common Worship. First published in 1978 and revised several times before the new hymnal, Singing the Living Tradition, which we know as the Gray Hymnal, could be published in 1993. From the preface. The history of hymnody is a history of amending and altering words and music to fit current needs. Changes are prompted sometimes for psychological, sometimes for theological reasons. This collection of revisions for many of the most popular hymns in Unitarian Universalist congregations thus continues a historical process. We seek to move beyond gender in the language of our worship. The old patriarchal forms are contrary to present needs and ideals. If any portion of a congregation feels excluded by the words sung or spoken in unison, the words fail to express the intended community. If religious language perpetuates views of the divine or the human in purely masculine forms, it runs contrary to our best understanding. Just as in the past, Universalists removed hell and Unitarians eliminated the Trinity by recasting old hymns. This brief collection provides changes that should make many hymns more appropriate for our time. These, I think, are the key phrases relevant to us today as we strive to embrace and expand new understandings. We seek to move beyond gender in the language of our worship. If any portion of a congregation feels excluded by the words sung or spoken in unison, the words fail to express the intended community. The 1993 hymnal includes several references to brothers and sisters as more inclusive language than brothers. Today, we may be ready to talk about and sing about siblings and cousins, which we do as we change the words. We expand our awareness that gender is not binary. In 2005, the hymnal Singing the Journey, which we know as the Teal Hymnal, was published, intentionally including materials highlighting the spirituality of the bisexual, gay, lesbian, and transgender community, earth-centered and non-Western theologies, both male and female spirituality, and the music of cultures traditionally underrepresented in our communities. And today, a new online hymnal titled Sing Out Love is about to launch. The vision for this new resource is to build a living collection of song resources through an accessible, equitable online platform grounded in UU values. This virtual hymnal will help Unitarian Universalism live into our prophetic calling as a joyful, liberatory, and anti-oppressive faith, they say. And this month, there are several scheduled opportunities to learn more about the newest hymnal. And if you search Sing Out Love on the UUA website, you'll find a registration form for the upcoming Zoom meetings. Our UUA website offers a document titled Inclusive Language Guidance. Being a welcoming and inclusive community means consciously working to find ways to name, honor, and value experiences and identities that are usually minimized or devalued. It means uncovering our unconscious assumptions about what's normal and who is present in our community, and opening ourselves to the possibility of greater diversity. In order for us to feel welcome and included in faith communities, we need to see ourselves reflected and present in some way. Using inclusive language does not just mean using welcoming and affirming statements, although that is certainly a good first step. Increasing the inclusiveness of our language means striving to understand the ways that language often unconsciously makes assumptions about people and unintentionally reinforces dominant norms around gender, sexual orientation, race, class, ability and disability, age, and other identities and experiences. The UUA's Standing on the Side of Love campaign, which has advocated for LGBTQ plus equity, racial justice, and immigration justice, changed its name to Siding with Love. The website for Siding with Love states, for a time, we lacked awareness and consultation and the input of people with disabilities. As leaders and members of our denomination become increasingly aware of the message's negative impact, we also saw willingness to do something, to change instead of challenge or deny, an agreement to engage in conversations around it. So the message itself becomes a justice issue, focusing on inclusion rather than any possible sense of exclusion. Changing the words of the message becomes one more way of siding with love. And the composer of the hymn, originally titled Standing on the Side of Love, Jason Shelton, changed the words answering the call of love, which we sang this morning. Standing can be a powerful metaphor, and what do you stand for can be a powerful question. A century ago, the Reverend Louis B. Fisher, the Dean of the Universalist Seminary at St. Lawrence University, noted that Universalists are often asked to tell where they stand. Fisher's response was that Universalists do not stand, we move. Movement can be a powerful metaphor, too, and there are many ways to move, many ways to be moved. There are many ways to respond to the call of love, many ways to march and sing and roll and dance on the side of love. In 1990, the Reverend Mark Bellatini wrote, "As our language becomes more and more inclusive, as the language in this our era redeems more and more words which were once eschewed by many of us, for example, God, spirit, even church and religion, may our primary discipline be to love and include, not to convert and lay down rules." The remaking of our language is not necessarily painless, but if we begin with our humanity, we can also remember how to bring some healing to that pain. And even as the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion are threatened today, we are challenged to learn and embrace new words, new vocabulary, new grammar, new language, to be shaped by and to shape our understanding of the world we live in, the world we would help to build, one where we, you and I and all of us, are welcomed and embraced in the fullness of our identities. The composer of the song, "We Are a Gentle, Angry People," Holly Near, wrote the 5th verse as we are gay and straight together. 40 years ago, when she wrote the song, this was still a radical idea, especially expressed in song lyrics, especially sung in church. A few years ago, I attended a concert where Holly Near suggested substituting the words, "We are all in this together," in recognition that gay and straight are not all the options. At that concert, which was also attended by several members of the congregation I was serving at the time, we sang the song with the new words instead of the old words. A couple of weeks later, we sang the song in a Sunday service with the substituted words. A member of the congregation who had also attended Holly Near's concert told me how much she missed hearing the words "gay and straight together," which she had felt explicitly included herself and her partner of 40 years. The next week, we sang the hymn again with all the words. And now I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing hymn 170, "We Are Gentle, Angry People," with the added verse, "We are all in this together."
We extinguish this flame, but we keep its light in our hearts with its message of love and justice, bringing it outside these walls to the world we live in until we are together again.
May we live our lives fully and creatively so that we may be a blessing to ourselves, to each other, and to all those whose lives we touch. Please remain seated for a moment of contemplation as we listen to the postlude.